rattled Bibi backed down on his Beirut attack plan, fueling speculation that Tehran's deadly warning forced Israel to slam the brakes on escalation. Netanyahu pulls back troops massed for planned attack on Beirut as Iran draws a hard red line over Lebanon, clearly signaling that any strike could ignite a much wider regional firestorm. Trump steps in to rein in his closest ally just as Iran breathes fire, leaning on Netanyahu to freeze new moves that might shatter the fragile Pakistan-brokered ceasefire. Israel's threat to hit Beirut's Dahiyeh stronghold fizzles after pressure from Trump and fierce warnings from Tehran, turning talk of imminent strikes into a suddenly shelved operation. Israel has backed away from a planned military assault on Beirut, according to Donald Trump on June 1st, indicating that a previously considered ground operation into the Lebanese capital has been called off. Trump said the announcement followed a direct phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, suggesting that U.S. pressure or persuasion played a key role in halting the plan. He described the conversation as productive, and claimed that as a result, planned Israeli troop movements toward Beirut were halted before they could turn into an actual incursion. Trump further stated that no Israeli troops would enter Beirut and that any forces already en route to the city had received orders to turn back, effectively freezing the operation. Before this apparent reversal, Netanyahu had reportedly instructed the Israel Defense Forces to prepare for strikes on southern Beirut, signaling serious intent to escalate against targets in the city. These reported plans specifically included the Dahiyeh district, a well-known Hezbollah stronghold in southern Beirut that has historically been a focal point in past conflicts. Trump also claimed he had secured parallel understandings with Hezbollah, implying that he had opened indirect channels or communications with the group to support a broader de-escalation. According to his account, Hezbollah agreed to halt its attacks on Israel on the condition that Israel likewise refrain from launching new military action, creating an informal mutual restraint. This de-escalation move came just hours after Iran issued strong warnings against any new Israeli attack on Beirut, making clear that Tehran viewed such an operation as a red line. Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya central headquarters publicly warned Israel against violating the existing ceasefire, signaling that the country's top military command was closely monitoring events. Tehran cautioned that any Israeli strike on southern Beirut would trigger consequences extending beyond Lebanon, hinting at a wider regional response or escalation if its warnings were ignored. Iran also maintains that the April 8 ceasefire brokered by Pakistan applies not only to Gaza or Israel's immediate fronts but also covers Lebanon, meaning strikes on Beirut would be seen as a breach of that broader truce. Even as Trump called for restraint, Iran raised the stakes with a direct warning aimed at Israel. The warning was addressed to residents of northern Israel as concerns grew over possible regional escalation. Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters warned Israelis to leave northern areas if Beirut is targeted by Israeli strikes. Ali Abdullahi said, and I quote, "Given Israel's repeated violations of the ceasefire, if this threat is carried out, we warn residents of northern areas and military settlements in Israel to leave the area if they do not want to be harmed." Unquote. Iran cautioned that any expansion of Israeli operations in Lebanon could lead to a much wider conflict. Trump reportedly urged restraint, warning that a strike on Beirut could undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu today, asking him not to go into a major raid of Beirut, Lebanon. He turned his troops around. Thank you, Bibi. I also had a conversation with representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah, and they agreed to stop shooting at Israel and its soldiers. Likewise, Israel agreed to stop shooting at them. Let's see how long that lasts. Hopefully it will be for eternity." Unquote. According to Axios, the discussion became heated as the two leaders clashed over Israel's approach to Lebanon. Axios reported that Trump sharply criticized Netanyahu and accused him of acting recklessly during the call. According to Axios, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "You're crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." But renewed exchanges of fire soon cast doubt on how long any ceasefire arrangement might last. Netanyahu said he made it clear to Trump that Israel would target Beirut if Hezbollah continued its attacks. The Israeli Prime Minister added that military operations in southern Lebanon would proceed as planned. Benjamin Netanyahu said, and I quote, I spoke this evening with President Trump and told him that if Hezbollah does not stop firing at our cities and citizens, Israel will strike terrorist targets in Beirut. This position of ours remain unchanged. Concurrently, the IDF will continue to operate as planned in southern Lebanon." Unquote. Israel had earlier ordered strikes on targets in Beirut's southern suburbs in response to Hezbollah attacks. The IRGC warned that any Israeli move crossing what Tehran considers its red lines in Lebanon would be treated as a direct war against Iran and its allies. Iran also warned that further Israeli escalation in Lebanon could trigger the opening of new fronts across the region, significantly widening the conflict. Tehran signaled that developments in Lebanon are closely tied to its wider regional security strategy and the interests of the so-called resistance axis. Siren alarms rang out across multiple northern border towns after the IDF detected a suspected hostile aerial target approaching Israeli airspace, prompting residents to seek shelter and emergency services to mobilize. Following the reported drone strike, IDF troops were deployed to the impact site to carry out a thorough scan and assessment of the scene for any unexploded ordnance or other threats. Military officials say the suspected Hezbollah drone crashed in an open border area without causing injuries, and local authorities are continuing inspections to confirm the extent of damage. In a related episode, the IDF intercepted 2 rockets launched by Hezbollah toward the Beirut area along the Israel-Lebanon border, preventing what could have been a far more serious escalation. Officials report that the rocket attack on the Beirut border region caused no casualties, though it intensified fears among nearby residents and spurred additional military readiness. In response to these incidents, the IDF said it launched a new wave of strikes targeting Hezbollah infrastructure in Tyre and other locations in southern Lebanon, aiming to degrade the group's operational capabilities. The latest exchanges follow a May 30th attack in which Iran-backed Hezbollah fired multiple rockets from Lebanon into Israeli territory, marking a continued pattern of cross-border hostilities. The rockets were reportedly fired toward western Galilee, triggering fresh panic across northern Israeli communities. Safed, Kiryat Shmona, and Carmel were among the areas targeted by Hezbollah's latest deadly barrage, Times of Israel reported. Videos circulating online appeared to show a barrage of missiles and drones launched toward Israel by Hezbollah fighters. The Israel Defense Forces claimed several incoming rockets were intercepted, while others landed in open areas. Hezbollah also reportedly launched multiple drones, with one striking a military zone near Shamera. The IDF said Israeli forces are now preparing for the possibility of more incoming fire from Hezbollah. Hezbollah's latest attacks come as Israeli forces have widened military operations deeper into southern Lebanon. On May 28th, Israel carried out an airstrike in Beirut for the first time in nearly 3 weeks. Israeli warplanes struck the Lebanese capital, reportedly targeting a commander linked to an Iranian-backed militia network. On May 29th, Benjamin Netanyahu said Israeli troops had crossed Lebanon's Litani River amid escalating Hezbollah attacks.